Failure is often perceived as the end of the road, a definitive indicator that one's efforts have been in vain. But it looms large in our minds and affects us so much, not because of the act or event itself, but because of the meanings we attach to it. When we delve deeper, it becomes clear that our fear isn't rooted in the failure itself, but in the stories we tell ourselves about what it represents. When we fail, the initial wave of negative feelings is overwhelming, flooding us with disappointment, shame, and self-doubt. We may feel a sharp sting of inadequacy, as if our worth has been diminished. Imagine a young artist pouring his heart into a painting. If it isn't well received, the brushstrokes of criticism doesn't just mark the canvas. They affect the artist's sense of self-worth. The artist isn't just afraid of producing a bad painting. He fears that his lack of talent has been exposed, that his dreams are unfounded, and that his identity as a creator is a sham. Failure in this context represents the shattering of a carefully constructed self-image. Consider an entrepreneur launching a startup. The fear isn't merely about the business failing, it's about the perceived confirmation that they are not cut out for entrepreneurship, that they can't measure up to their peers, and that their aspirations were misplaced. The collapse of a business venture can feel like a collapse of one's own aspirations and capabilities. At its core, our fear of failure is deeply intertwined with our fear of judgment, rejection, and the loss of our sense of self. We fear the disapproving looks, the whispered doubts, and the internal echo of our own insecurities. Failure, therefore, becomes a mirror, reflecting not just a singular event, but a broader narrative about our value and place in the world. It is important, therefore, for us to take time to understand what values and beliefs we have personally attached to an act or event of failure. Do you notice that oftentimes when we have failed, we withdraw from others? This is mainly because we fear their judgment and pity. This self-imposed solitude stems from the belief that we are alone in our struggles, exacerbating feelings of inadequacy and loneliness. We convince ourselves that sharing our failure will only highlight our perceived shortcomings, leading to further embarrassment and rejection. So, we retreat into our own minds, replaying the event and scrutinizing every misstep. We seek the silence of isolation, making our failure feel more permanent and pervasive. I know many will say you have to bounce back, you have to reach out, seek help, and build your resilience. But, my dear friends, understand that it is also important to go within and spend time alone when we fail, to understand the narratives we have attached to failure. This period of isolation is a period of introspection, allowing us to process our emotions without external pressures or judgments, giving us the space to understand the roots of our disappointment and self-doubt. By isolating ourselves, we create a quiet environment to reflect on what went wrong and why, enabling us to extract valuable lessons from the experience. This self-imposed solitude can also be a time for self-compassion, where we can acknowledge our efforts and reassure ourselves that failure is a natural part of growth. By sitting with our emotions, we begin to heal and develop a deeper understanding of our own resilience. Ultimately, this introspective period can lead to a stronger, more grounded sense of self, preparing us to re-engage with the world with renewed clarity and determination. To ensure that self-isolation after failure is a healthy period of introspection and not a descent into depression, set intentional boundaries. Establish a clear time frame for your introspection. Decide how long you will spend reflecting before re-engaging with your routine and social activities. Engage in active reflection rather than passive rumination. Journaling, meditating, or discussing your thoughts with a trusted confidant helps process your emotions constructively. Pay attention to your emotional state. Introspection should lead to a gradual sense of clarity and understanding, whereas depression is characterized by persistent feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and disinterest. Even during your period of self-imposed isolation, maintain some form of connection with others. Arrange brief check-ins with friends or family, ensuring you don't become completely withdrawn. This can be as simple as sending and receiving messages on our phones. Most importantly, treat yourself with kindness during this period. Recognize that failure is a part of the human experience and use this time to cultivate self-compassion rather than self-criticism. Use your introspective time to set goals for your next steps. Keep your focus on growth and progress rather than on the failure itself. If you notice that your feelings of sadness or isolation persist or worsen, please seek support from a mental health professional who can provide guidance and strategies to ensure your introspection remains healthy. Implementing these strategies creates a balanced approach to self-isolation that promotes healing and growth, without falling into the trap of depression. At its core, failure is a feedback mechanism. It provides us with valuable information about what doesn't work, highlighting the gaps in our understanding, preparation, or execution. Approaching failure from the perspective of it being feedback transforms the event from a source of shame to a part of the learning cycle. When we look at our failures head on, we untangle the threads of our self-worth from the outcome of our actions. Each failure becomes a stepping stone, challenging us to confront our limitations, pushing us to develop grit and determination, and change our values about our self-worth. What I like best about failure is how it fosters humility and empathy. It reminds us that we are fallible, that perfection does not exist, and that everyone encounters setbacks. The awareness makes us more compassionate towards ourselves and others, fostering a sense of shared humanity. Everyone fails, and when we fail, we gain a deeper appreciation for the struggles of others, leading to a more supportive and understanding relationship with those around us. Failure helps to clarify our goals and values. It forces us to reassess what truly matters to us, prompting introspection and realignment with our core beliefs. Sometimes, the act of failing reveals that our initial objectives were not as aligned with our true passions or strengths as we thought, guiding us towards paths that are more fulfilling and authentic. Embracing failure allows us to rewrite the narratives we have constructed around it. We understand that failure does not diminish our worth, but rather it enriches our experience and deepens our empathy. We see that what we truly fear isn't failure itself, but what it represents and the meanings we've ascribed to it. By changing these meanings, we free ourselves to pursue our passions with a full heart, undeterred by the prospect of falling short, and safe in the knowledge that every misstep is a vital part of our journey. We approach failure with an open mind and heart, unlocking its true potential as a wonderful teacher, guiding us towards resilience, creativity, empathy, and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. So thank you, failure, and thank you for being willing to fail, my dear friend. In failure, you will rise anew. I love you. Namaste.